Okay, so I am getting quite a few questions on the giant ones. And let's go ahead and be clear first of all. The giant ones is another way to, is just a term that we use to refer to the multiplicative identity. Multiplicative identity. So the multiplicative identity. And what the multiplicative identity is the multiplicative identity just says that anything times 1 times or even divided by 1 is the same value, or is itself, is, let's say, the same value. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, let's think of this, okay? 3 times 1 is 3. 3, so that's the anything, times or divided by 1. So 3 times 1 is the same value. 3 times 1 is 3. We know that. 5 times 1 is 5. Even pi times 1 is pi. 1/2 times 1 is 1/2. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Anything times 1 is itself. Okay, so that's what the giant one is. The giant one is the multiplicative identity. So, whoops, that was from the previous lesson. Let me go ahead and erase that. So what that means is now let's look at what we could use it for. What can we use the giant ones for? And the most common way we use it early on is just to rewrite fractions. Okay, so when we say rewriting fractions, we're not changing the actual value of the fraction. If we look at the fraction 1/2, okay, 1/2. So this is 1/2. Okay, that's 1/2. We could say 1/2. We also know that's the same exact thing as 2/4. Okay, so instead of breaking it into halves, now we have 2/4. Same exact value. There's these two cells and these two cells. Same exact value. It equals the same thing. Okay. Mathematically, if we didn't have the picture, how we would represent that is we would say 1/2 times 1 equals 2/4. But we can also say 1/2 times 2/2 equals 2/4. Okay, so what does that mean? Why does that work? Well, we know if we have a fraction 2/2, 2/2 just equals 1 whole. Or any number 3/3 equals 1 whole. Any fraction, with the same numerator and denominator, so 1/2 over 1/2 is going to equal 1 whole. Any number with the same numerator and denominator is going to equal 1 whole. So now this 2/2 we could consider as 1, okay? So that's where the term giant 1 comes in, because we're multiplying by the multiplicative inverse, which is just 1 whole. Okay, so that's all the giant 1 means. It means 1 whole.